Hey, what's happening, Wargamers? It is Leland here with another quick painting guide for you. This week I am going to be taking a look at how to paint skin tones, and we're going to be using our good friend Sly Marbo for that. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a nice coat of Bugman's Glow. We're going to get it good and thin, just because we want to go nice and smooth. We want to avoid streaks. So here we are. We're just carefully applying it here. Now, because it is the first layer we're doing, we don't have to worry too much about any overlap or spill or anything like that. So just focus in on the skin. So get it all in there. Just make sure you get all the crevices covered up. Get the face in. Don't want it too thick because you don't want to obscure any details on this. So just use some flow improver or water or Lamy and medium to get it nice and smooth for you. So that is the effect we're going for. So the next step is we're going to take a little bit of Cadian Fleshtone, and the same deal as before. We're going to get this thinned down a little bit. Now I've been using Vallejo Flow Improver for this, just a drop or two, and you just want to get it onto the muscles, following the contours of the biceps. In this particular case, I am avoiding the deepest recesses of the muscle, keeping the Bugman's Glow there. It takes a little bit more time, and you got to make sure you get most of the paint off the brush because you don't want it to run into the bicep. Now a little bit is okay because it'll help for the transitions and whatnot, but just be very deliberate with it and just take a little bit of time to get the color on there. And you're going to be doing a thin coat on this, so don't worry about having to go back and do another coat or two just to strengthen some of the colors on it and just make them a little bit stronger, a little bit bolder. Especially with the face though, just be nice and deliberate with that. Next up, we are going to use some Reichland Flesh Shade, and what we're going to do is we're going to water this one down, and we're just going to apply it very carefully along the skin tones. You don't want to do it too much because too much of it will tint the skin tones a bit too much. We just want it to settle into the grooves of the muscles, follow the contours and everything like that, and just basically give us the depth that we're looking for. It's also going to work towards blending the skin tones for the Bugman's Glow and the Cadian Fleshtone a little bit more. You can apply it a little bit heavier in some places, but try not to go too heavy because you want to avoid pooling with it as well, because that'll also help keep streaks down. So we're going to go back to the Cadian Fleshtone at this point, and all we're going to do is thin it down to almost a glaze-like consistency. And we're just going to go back and we're just going to strengthen the lighter tones of it a little bit. So just go over them very lightly, just where they would be the lightest, and let basically the contours do the job for you. You don't have to go too deep into it. Just really reinforce the highest parts of the skin, the muscles, and the features. So as you can see, I'm just going through it very carefully here, trying hard not to do too much. Lastly, we're going to do a final highlight of Kislev Flesh, and what we're going to do is we're going to want this one very thin. So I used a couple drops of Flow Improver as well as some water, nice and thin, so you're basically just brushing it on just so the color is coming through, just giving it a little bit of a pop to it. So again, don't do too much of it, otherwise you will get too much of a contrast on here, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of goes against what we're trying to accomplish here. So as you can see, I'm just gradually putting it on a little bit, just building up the colors just a tiny little bit, using multiple thin layers of this. It should be thin enough that you do have to do 2 or 3 coats to it. You should still see some of the Cadian, and if not, the Bugman's coming through a bit on this one. But you can see we're getting that really nice clean definition between the muscles and the bicep, and the contours are really coming through nicely on this. So as you can see, we're just putting some finishing touches on it. And as always, this is just a quick one. This is just meant to kind of give you an idea on what you're looking at to try and get your models to a good tabletop standard. And you can always build on these skills from there. But there you go. It is a nice, quick method to do it. Just using 4 colors right there, all from the Games Workshop Citadel lines. Very simple to do, very easy to do. It just takes a little bit of patience. So, thank you for watching. Leave a comment below. Be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, happy wargaming.